Kansas City, the land of S-tier barbecue and the home of the Chiefs, and formerly one of the top stops on the Disc Golf National Tour, and even the host city for the 2009 Disc Golf World Championships. But as the game grew and evolved, the top courses in Kansas City just couldn't keep up with the rising talent on the Pro Tour. That is, until now. Welcome to Bad Rock Creek, a course with some bomber shots, OB line fairways, and some tightly wooded technical holes. This course is the home of the 41st Kansas City Wide Open, and Kansas City's introduction onto the Disc Golf Pro Tour to be seen once again the way us locals see it, as one of the greatest places in the world for disc golf. Starting with hole 1, 575-foot par 4, which leaves the pros with one of 3 options off the tee, letting you choose just how aggressive you want to attack this opening hole, as landing in the water is very costly, taking you to a drop zone that still leaves you with a full water carry to get up and down after your penalty throw. Then to hole 2, possibly the easiest hole on the course, a 204-foot uphill shot to an island green about the size of Circle 1, with some room to spare on the front side. Although if you don't land on the island, it plays as a hazard, so you can still be able to make a putt to save your par. Hole 3 starts with a relatively short 200-foot straight shot through the trees that basically puts you in position to attack the pin. But with OB surrounding the pins, getting up and down for your birdie is not quite as easy as it sounds. Now, hole 4 being one of my favorites on the course, you basically want to get a shot as far down this tunnel as you can, with the ideal landing zone being about 435 feet from the tee. From there, it leaves you about 390 feet downhill to get your birdie. And while there technically is OB behind the basket, it's not too much to worry about unless you really miss your shot on that approach. And while the ladies play a shorter pin, it's still no walk in the park, as they will have to navigate a large tree about 410 feet down the fairway before they approach into the woods to get up and down for their birdie. Now, hole 5 being one of the more difficult holes on the course, you have a very tightly wooded fairway that gives you 2 options off the tee, with the first option being the straight shot up the hill, with the ideal landing zone being about 325 feet. And that will leave you with a routine, dead straight, 290-foot shot to get a birdie, or 260 feet for the FPO. The other option is going a shorter forehand or down the right gap that will give you a little closer to the water, giving a nice hyzer into the basket, or giving the ladies a clearer, straight, shorter shot to get up and down for their birdie. Now, hole 6 has you throwing up a hill and into the woods for this par 4. You can either land on the top of the hill and try to get into the opening for the tunnel, or throw a driver to get as far down the tunnel as you can, because at the opening of the tunnel, that still leaves you with a 290-foot dead straight shot to get up and down for a birdie. And the FPO have a similar look, but their tee is a little further out to have a better angle to bite off more of the fairway off the tee, but they're still left with that difficult dead straight in the woods shot to get up and down for their birdie. Now, hole 7 is a brand new hole, so it's a little bit rough around the edges, but you got a 411-foot straight shot in the woods. Now, there's OB on both sides of the basket. The right side's a little further away, but the left side comes in quick, so you really need to minimize the amount of skip you get at the end of your shot. And that takes you to hole 8, which starts out with about a 300-foot low ceiling tunnel shot to get out of the woods. And while the ladies will be playing this short basket as a par 3, the men have a little further to go for their par 4. They have this blind second shot over the hill to a mound of trees to the right that serves kind of as a beacon to show you where the basket is, because this basket is tucked into these trees. So it would take a long 450-foot shot over that hill to get a birdie on this long par 4. Now, hole 9 might be a shorter hole at 268 feet, but it is no slouch, as you have a very low ceiling and the uphill slope towards the green leaves you a very small window, even with a driver, to be able to get up into the circle for a birdie look. But this still remains as one of the easier holes on the course, and most of the pros will be viewing this hole as a must-get birdie going into the back 9. And the back 9 starts off with a fairly difficult par 3. With OB surrounding the green, you really need to make the decision on if you have that pinpoint accurate distance, or if you're going to be laying up short of the OB to take your par. Because while the basket may technically be downhill, this is still only going to be birdies for some of the farther throwing players in the field. Hole 11, 383 feet. While most pros can throw much further than that, this hole is still no slouch, as navigating the trees off the tee makes you throw a little lower than you would like, as well as needing a straighter finish, because otherwise you can find yourself pretty easily into that OB on either side of the fairway. And that brings us into hole 12. This 652-foot wooded shot was played as a par 4 last year for the KCWO Open, but as the hole played 1.5 throws over par, they changed it to a par 5. Off the tee, it's pretty tight, but if you navigate those early trees, the fairway opens up slightly, and if your disc can finish straight or even a little right down the hill, that will leave you with a straight 300-foot shot to get up and down for possibly an eagle on this wooded hole 12, because there were pros who took threes on this hole last year. Now hole 13 takes you back into the Open with a 364-foot uphill shot with OB lining the entire fairway. And with the Peninsula green, you really have to make a choice on whether you are going for it or laying up early where the OB opens up for a shorter landing zone. But taking a par on this hole might have you losing a stroke to a lot of the field. Also, I lied earlier on hole 4. Hole 14 is my favorite hole on this course. With OB lining the entire fairway, the tee shot isn't extremely difficult. You just have to clear the corner, or those with larger forehands might be able to bite off more after the corner, but it's the upshot that will give you difficulties on this hole, as your second shot needs to pan right and get to the ground quick, as the green slopes downwards a good ways and leads straight to the water. And with the new elevated basket, even if you play conservative, it leaves you with a very risky look to get a birdie as you're putting straight towards the water. So while 14 is not too difficult to get a birdie, it's also not difficult to bogey either. Now hole 15 is another relatively short hole, but this one leaves you with one of two options. You can either go straight at the basket through the left side tunnel, risking being knocked into the water and possibly losing your disc for good, or you can take the right gap, which makes it very difficult to get a birdie, but practically takes the water completely out of play. And that brings you to hole 16, a 956-foot par 5 with OB lining the entire left side of the fairway. And you definitely don't want to hit one of the trees off the tee, because if you go left, that pond is there, you lose the disc and go to the drop zone, which is the FPOT. Otherwise, you want to get as far up this hill as you can to make your second shot as easy as possible, because the second shot is where you can make the most mistakes. As the fairway slopes down quite a bit, it is very easy to have your disc find the OB left on the second shot. And your third shot will need to go into the woods about 100 feet or so to get a look at getting your birdie. And hole 17 is another heavily wooded hole where you're wanting to get a straight shot up into the base of this hill before throwing your approach uphill for the birdie. But you definitely don't want to go long or kick right off the tee, as that disc will kick very downhill or into a gorge, which will make scrambling very difficult. Then you come back out of the woods for this finishing par 5, 924 feet. That starts with a very uphill drive. There is a tunnel that cuts this corner, but getting to the opening is no easy task, as it is 420 feet from the tee and 25 feet above it. But if you land there, you have a routine 275-foot shot to the mowed out landing zone, and from there you have 225 feet uphill to the basket. And while that upshot might be routine for most of the pros, there is OB to worry about before and after the basket, coming into about 20 feet from behind the basket and 30 feet in front. So you definitely do not want to go long or short on this shot. But this exhausting hole 18 should provide a fair amount of scoring separation, which would make for a very exciting finish this weekend. See you out there.